Now let's see how you change or replace the liner in the torch and torch cable. We'll start with the push-pull gun. With the torch cable stretched out as straight as possible, we next remove the retaining net on the end of the torch cable that goes into the machine. And pull the liner out of the torch cable back through this direction. Here we have the parts that come in the package with a new standard carbon black liner. It comes equipped with a steel spiral whip end for use on standard torches. If we are using it on the push-pull torch, we actually have to cut this spiral steel end off. And a pair of wire snips, carefully cut the spiral steel end off and discard it. Ensure that we have not collapsed the end of the plastic liner so that the wire can feed smoothly out of it. We're okay on this one. Package also has two metal tubes, a long and a short one. For the 522 welder, we are going to use the short tube. It is straight on both ends with no taper. There's also an O-ring on the end with the ferrule. We're going to eventually remove this O-ring, but we're going to leave it in place until we feed the liner into the torch cable. Keeping the torch cable laid out as straight as possible, with the locking nut removed, we feed the new liner into the torch cable until it bottoms out at the torch itself and will not go any further. Now we can push the ferrule into the end of the torch cable. So we remove this O-ring and reinstall the retaining nut. Make it snug, but do not over tighten. Now we will slide our straight metal sleeve with no taper on either end over the torch where the liner comes out of it, and we need to now trim this end of the liner to fit into the machine. What we want to do is trim it so that just a few millimeters sticks out of the end of our metal tubing. So again, using our snips, even a little bit sticking out, cut this off. Ensure we haven't collapsed the end of it. Now we're ready to reinstall the torch on the machine. Install the torch into the machine. Fully hand tighten the plastic retainer. Reconnect our electrical connection. Now we're ready to refeed our wire through the torch, cable, and gun using the same procedure we did before. If you are replacing the liner with a Teflon liner, it will not come with the spiraled steel liner installed on it, and so you can skip that step of cutting that off. Now let's see how to replace the liner in the standard torch. Basically, it's done the same way as the push-pull torch with a couple of minor differences depending on what configuration you're using is. With the torch cable stretched out as straight as possible, we remove the retaining nut from the end that goes into the machine. Grab the liner and pull it out. For the standard torch, we leave the spiral steel end on it to take the heat that is absorbed inside the gooseneck end of the torch. Start by pushing the spiral steel portion through. Feed the rest of the liner through. You'll feel it getting tight once it gets to the end. Push on the liner to ensure that it is all the way firmly against the contact tip. Push the locking ferrule down in. Remove the shipping O-ring and reinstall the nut. For the silicon bronze wire, we are not going to use the double tapered in metal tube. We're again going to use the short tube with no taper on either side, just like we used on the push-pull torch side. You slide the tube over the end of the liner, down flush against our nut, and again cut the liner off so just a millimeter or two is sticking out of the end of the metal tube. Again, ensuring that we didn't collapse the end of the liner. Now we can reinstall the torch cable back on the machine, reload our silicon bronze wire, and we're ready to MIG braze.